I asked ChatGPT to design my dream life and then did nothing about it. Why does imagining success feel so good but still leave you stuck? Visualization is trending, but without action, it's just procrastination in disguise. Let's be honest, visualizing your dream life is easy. You sit down, ask AI to craft your perfect future, and in seconds you get it all. Your ideal morning routine, the dream job, the habits of a millionaire, a glowing self-image crafted line by line. It feels good, empowering, like you've taken a step towards something meaningful. But here's the brutal truth. You haven't moved an inch. The world of personal development is obsessed with vision. Manifestation boards, future scripts, guided visualizations, mindset planners, all promising to make success feel more attainable. And when AI joins the party, it makes that vision even more vivid. But vision without action? That's not manifestation. That's mental entertainment. This is the tension we're breaking down in part 1. The difference between imagining the path and walking it. Because AI can give you an amazing mental picture, but only you can build the muscle to live it. Visualization, powerful, but overrated. Let's get something straight. Visualization isn't bad. In fact, it's scientifically backed. Studies show that mentally rehearsing a task can activate the same neural pathways as physically doing it. Athletes visualize performance. Speakers rehearse confidence. Entrepreneurs map out big visions before execution. The problem starts when visualization becomes a substitute for action. You imagine your future life, and your brain releases dopamine, a feel-good chemical that tricks you into thinking progress has been made. That emotional payoff is real. It's comforting, encouraging, but it's a trap. Because over time, your brain starts to believe that imagining success is success. That feeling good about the plan is the same as executing the plan. And this is where growth dies. The role of AI, amplifier or excuse. Enter AI. It makes visualization easier than ever. With a few prompts, you can ask ChatGPT to design your perfect week, write affirmations for confidence, build a 6-month transformation plan, script your future self in vivid detail, and it will deliver fast, clear, inspiring. But here's the problem. AI doesn't feel resistance. You do. AI doesn't care how tired you are, how anxious you feel, how long you've been stuck in perfectionism. It reflects your desires back at you, but it can't make you move. So if you're not careful, AI becomes a crutch, not a catalyst. You start using it to feel better, not to get better. The difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers collect visions. Doers collect evidence. Dreamers ask AI to map the mountain. Doers lace up their boots and start walking, even when the path is steep. Dreamers get addicted to the script. Doers learn to rewrite it in real time based on how life actually unfolds. This is the mindset shift we're here to build. One that values effort over elegance. One that trades dopamine highs for gritty progress. Because the truth is, no matter how many mindset plans you generate, nothing happens until you act. Why action feels so hard, even when the plan is clear. Here's something most mindset creators won't tell you. Action feels hard because it should. Real movement disrupts homeostasis. It breaks routines, confronts fear, and stretches your identity. Visualization keeps you safe. Action makes you vulnerable. And that's why your brain resists, even when you know what to do. Even when the AI plan is sitting right there, ready for implementation. You feel this resistance and assume something's wrong with you. But nothing's wrong. You're just human. This is your edge. The new goal, from visualization to embodiment. So, where do we go from here? We stop treating clarity like a destination and start using it as a launchpad. Visualization becomes the map. Action becomes the territory. The question isn't, what's the perfect plan? It's, what's the smallest act of alignment I can do today? Instead of asking AI for more structure, ask yourself, what would the person in that vision do right now? What's the imperfect version I'm willing to try today? How can I feel resistance and move anyway? That's embodiment. That's growth. That's where your future is actually built. In part 2, we'll break down the psychological mechanisms that keep people stuck in mental rehearsal and show you how to train your brain to reward action instead of imagination. Follow Think Fresh Daily if you're ready to trade ideas for embodiment, because AI can light the path, but only you can walk it. Imagine this. You're sitting in front of your screen, reviewing the beautiful visionary routine AI generated for you. Wake up early. Journal. Move, work, learn, reflect. Sleep early. You feel excitement, clarity, purpose. Your brain is triggered, dopamine surges, you feel like momentum is building. But the next day, nothing changes. You skip the alarm, you snooze the notification, you scroll instead of writing. Here's the truth. Your brain can't tell the difference between envisioning progress and actual progress. It rewards both in the same chemical way. 1. The dopamine illusion. Neuroscience shows that dopamine is not a reward, it's an anticipatory signal. It fires when your brain expects a reward, not when you've achieved it. That's why planning your morning, reading vision scripts, and visualizing big wins feels satisfying, even though no behavior actually changed. The problem? Over time, your brain starts hijacking your motivation system with mental rehearsal instead of real-life rehearsal. That's the dopamine illusion. Thinking you're moving fast because your mind feels busy, even though your feet are still stationary. 2. Why visualization alone doesn't build neural pathways. Your brain builds new pathways through experience. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, rewiring your mind by repeated action. Visualization can prime those pathways, but it doesn't lay the neural bricks. Only doing does. Here's the science-backed insight. Athletes who only visualize performance perform worse than those who visualize and physically practice, even if the physical session is short. You can generate vivid plans with AI, but unless you physically practice the behavior in your body, the transformation won't stick. 3. The behavioral trigger gap. Every action requires a trigger. AI-generated routines don't hold real-world triggers. They exist in the ether. So, you read the plan, but the plan doesn't interrupt your morning phone routine. It doesn't activate when your emotions are fuzzy, or when you're late, or when life shows up messy. That's the behavioral gap. You need triggers woven into your actual environment. A physical cue, journal on your pillow, a timed phone alert, a ritual handshake with your vision board. Without triggers aligned with action, clarity stays theoretical. 4. Rewarding doing, not thinking. Let's flip the script. Instead of rewarding yourself for drafting a beautiful plan, reward yourself for completing a real action, even if it's imperfect. Did you write for 5 minutes? Celebrate. Did you move, even if it was one stretch? Celebrate. Did you complete one email toward your vision? Celebrate. Build a proof journal, marking actual wins, not visual wins. Treat each action step as the real progress report. Over time, your brain begins to expect action-based dopamine, not thought-based dopamine. 5. The progress pressure paradox. When clarity is high and idealism peaks, your brain simultaneously craves performance and fears judgment. AI scripts set high bars, perfection standards, and what-if traps. This creates pressure paralysis. The fear of not doing the plan perfectly becomes stronger than the desire to start. The solution? Permission to fail elegantly. Give yourself space to start poorly, to adjust, to pivot. Frame your first step as data, not verdict. That removes the emotional pressure and opens the door to progress. 6. Rewiring with micro-commitments. Your brain learns best in micro ways. Tiny physical actions repeated build muscle memory, not mental exercises. Try micro-commitments. Spend 2 minutes visualizing, then spend 1 minute acting. If the plan feels overwhelming, execute its smallest version immediately. Make a small action your emotional anchor, not the big tomorrow plan. Each action reinforces identity. Each tiny step rewires your brain to respond to doing, not endlessly planning. Real-world breakout example. One of our subscribers followed this method. She asked ChatGPT for a perfect content creation routine. She mentally high-fived herself, but she never posted. Then she tried the micro-commitment method. She wrote 3 sentences, posted 1 short. She repeated this daily. Within 3 weeks, she had momentum. She had discipline. She had identity in motion. She built progressive resilience. She rewired her brain to reward action, not just clarity. Nat, your next move. You already know the plan. Now ask yourself, what one aligned act can I do right now? Act immediately. Don't note-take, move. After the act, pause. Reflect in your proof journal. That's how you start building a system that feels like progress, not just looks like it. In part 3, we'll explore how to integrate emotional resilience into this process, dealing with uncertainty, emotional friction, and the stories that hold you back from stepping into why alignment feels safer than action. Stay with Think Fresh daily, because vision without action is just an echo, and this is where real echoes turn into footsteps. You've got the vision, you've got the clarity, you might even have the plan saved in your notes, yet still you hesitate. That hesitation isn't just resistance, it's emotional friction speaking through your body and mind. Where visualization ends, emotional reality begins. AI can map your future, but it can't feel your fear of starting. It can't hold your heart when doubt resurfaces. It can't soothe the nerves that saturate your decisions. This is part 3, the zone where mindset meets feeling, where you learn to move, even when your brain says no. 1. Understanding emotional friction. Emotional friction is the invisible force that keeps you in place, even when you're motivated. It's not laziness, it's not lack of willpower. It is often fear of failure, fear of success and the expectations it brings, fear of identity shift, who will I be if I'm no longer me? Fear of vulnerability. AI has no clue about these internal landscapes. It gives you a beautiful plan, free from emotional conflict. But real life isn't free from it. This is the gap most visuals can't bridge. 2. Why motivation fades fast. We live in an inspiration economy. We collect quotes, scripts, visuals, prizes of motivation. Motivation is like sugar, gratifying but short-lived. Real action is like protein, sustaining, necessary, real. AI keeps giving you sugar highs, vivid scripts, affirmations, templates, but without a backbone of emotional resilience, motivation collapses under friction. So you loop back, find a better script, prompt again, visualize more. Meanwhile, your action bank remains empty. Hannah 3, how to begin when the feeling isn't there. The key shift, start before motivation arrives. Use an emotional anchor. Breathe, 3 deep breaths intentionally placed before action begins. Ground, put one hand on your heart, feel your weight, speak I choose this. Commit, a silent affirmation like let me begin before any movement. These anchors aren't dramatic, they're ritualized cues that tell your body, here comes alignment, even if the heart resists. 4. Releasing the myth of readiness. Part of emotional resistance comes from expecting to feel ready. I'll do this when I feel confident. I'll start when I've planned more. I'll begin when I feel braver. Truth, readiness often follows action, not precedes it. Logically, people didn't wait until the perfect moment. People created the moment through imperfect steps. That's why we train to start despite feeling unready. 5. Mapping resistance as a signal to act. Instead of seeing resistance as a stop sign, reframe it as a compass. When your mind says, I can't do this, ask, what if this fear is evidence it matters? What would one imperfect micro-step look like? That small act becomes your defiance, not against motivation, but against your internal freeze. 6. Building emotional practice, not just mental practice. Mental practice ends when the visualization ends. Emotional practice continues in your day. When you feel anxiety before action, pause, not to retreat but to note, this is tension. I can move in spite of it. When you feel grief or stagnation, pause and reflect, what's holding me? Then take one small forward step. These emotional interruptions become alignments, ritualized responses to internal friction. They build resilience. 7. Example. When visualization isn't enough. One subscriber asked AI for a powerful ideal day script. She enthusiastically saved it, absorbed it, and then felt stuck. It wasn't that she wasn't capable. She didn't believe she deserved to show up the next day. Fear whispered, if I do this and still fail. So we asked her to start with one breath, one imperfect sentence in a journal. She did. The next day she did 2 sentences. That small emotional act overrode the script paralysis. Emotional micro-choices build courage. Vision alone often fails to trigger them. Final thought in part 3. Clarity is your fuel. Emotion is your heat. Together they drive change. But when clarity flows without emotional alignment, you stall. So don't wait to feel ready. Use small anchors. Act before motivation appears. Treat resistance as direction, not a deterrent. In part 4, we'll turn these insights into concrete routines and ritual systems that help you move from insight to embodied practice. Think Fresh Daily is here for the real, because you don't have to feel ready to start. You just need the courage to act anyway. You now know why visualization without action can feel hollow, and you understand how emotional friction can silence momentum, even when clarity is there. But clarity plus emotional awareness alone still won't move the needle. It's time to go deeper. Time to build the system that ensures what you want becomes who you are in motion. In Part 4, we build the bridge from insight to execution through ritual-based practice, environmental design, and strategic AI partnership. 1. Design rituals, not scripts. AI plans are scripts, clean, optimized blueprints of what could happen. Real-life rituals are repeated, embodied patterns, sacrificial rehearsal of who you're becoming. So replace your weekly perfect routine document with a handful of minimalist rituals tied directly to identity anchors. Morning anchor. Breathe for 2 minutes, then sit upright with intention. Momentum anchor. Do one aligned micro-action, like writing 1 sentence or 5 squats. Reset anchor. When scattered, take 10 seconds to recenter before grabbing screen time. These rituals don't feel dramatic or impressive. They are the quiet scaffolding of consistency. 2. Align environment to action. The visual clarity from AI often disappears into the backdrop of real life, but your environment can either support or sabotage action. Keep a notebook next to your bed for morning prompts. Set your phone far from your workspace to reduce distraction. Place your vision prompt or affirmation card on the mirror, not hidden in an app. Prepare ahead. Lay workout clothes the night before. Write email drafts before your device tempers focus. When friction is minimized, action becomes more likely. Step 3. Make AI a tactical assistant, not a life designer. Here's what most users don't realize. AI is not there to define your path. It's there to support what you've already committed to becoming. Start owning the identity. Then ask AI to complement, not replace it. For example, suggest one compelling reminder notification every morning for a person who values consistency over ambition. Create 3 micro-reflection questions for someone who is starting a small daily habit after hesitation. Write a 2-sentence mental reset prompt to use when I feel overwhelmed. By doing this, AI becomes your tool shed, not your life script. 4. Track proof, not perfection. We don't win by ticking all boxes perfectly. We win by showing up. Create a simple ritual tracker, just 3 yes-no checkboxes. Did I anchor my identity today? Did I act on 1 aligned microstep? Did I reset and recenter when overwhelmed? These light markers anchor intention into momentum, not on aesthetic but on action. Every time you check a box, you reinforce more than a habit, you reinforce identity. And when identity is internalized, action becomes automatic. 5. Scale smart, feel safe as momentum builds. You may be tempted to scale up your system. Add in 90-minute workouts, 6 journaling prompts, a full AI-generated schedule. But emotional resistance doesn't vanish with advanced systems. It often deepens. Instead, scale with emotional calibration. Expand micro-actions gradually. 1 sentence, 1 paragraph, 1 outline. Test your comfort zone gently. 5 push-ups this week, 10 next week. Add a communal check-in or public accountability slowly as your internal trust grows. The goal? Progress that feels like growth, not overwhelm masked as discipline. 6. Internalize rituals beyond tools. Real growth doesn't live in apps or platforms, it lives in your daily rhythms. So eventually, drop the app-based checkpoint. Practice actions even when you're offline. Build rituals that exist even when no one sees. Take your notebook into nature for morning reflection. Breathe and center before meetings. Recenter without a screen after emotional storms. Make your system live in space rather than an interface. Real-world example. One viewer shared this. They used AI to generate a full 60-minute morning routine. It never took hold. They felt pressure, shame, and often guilt at inconsistency. So we asked, what's the emotional anchor you need most, right now? They settled on 2 breaths before phone, 1 sentence journal after waking. They did that for weeks. They tracked their anchor and action daily. Momentum formed, identity shifted. Gradually they expanded. Now they follow a human-paced rhythm. No script fatigue, no self-judgment, just ritual. Abda's summary. From vision to ritual to identity, AI gives you clarity. But clarity doesn't equate to execution. Rituals anchor identity through consistent action, not performance. Environment and structure reduce friction and support what matters. AI should reinforce your system, not replace it. Proof journaling builds trust. Scaling wisely builds resilience. In the next section, Part 5, we'll anchor this system even deeper. showing how to embed discipline into your identity so that growth becomes automatic and self-sustaining. Remember, the path is not through scripting your vision over and over, it's through stepping into it, imperfectly but consistently. Follow Think Fresh daily. You're building momentum that lasts. You've learned how vision alone falls short, how emotional friction stops action, and how rituals turn plans into steps. Now we go deeper, into identity. It isn't enough to know who you're becoming. You have to feel like that person, even before results show. 1. Identity as the driver of authentic behavior. Every day you face a choice. Repeat old patterns or step into a new version of yourself. If you identify as someone who gets overwhelmed, overwhelm becomes your default. But if you claim someone who begins, even when fear shows up, then starting becomes part of your identity. Action isn't about doing things for a future self, it's in honor of the person you're becoming. 2. Evidence-based identity reinforcement. When mental planning trumps execution, you end up collecting ideas, not identity. But when you build habits, even small ones, your brain records real evidence. Here's how to anchor it. Keep a proof journal. Record what you actually did, especially on hard days. At the end of each week, review your journal and ask, what did I do even when it was uncomfortable? This creates a feedback loop. You act and then reinforce that identity with information, not the other way around. And 3, micro-maintenance versus macro expectations. Most scripts encourage ideal vision standards, levels of perfection that derail real progress. Instead, adopt micro-maintenance. A 3-minute breath first thing, still doing 2 push-ups even after a bad night's sleep, writing 1 sentence even when you feel stuck. These aren't sacrifices, they're small votes cast for the identity you're growing into. 4, rewiring commitment through consistency. Consistency comes not from forcing, but from accumulating trustworthy patterns. Each time you follow through, even imperfectly, you signal to your nervous system, open quote, this is who I am now. Close quote. As this repeats, you shift from doing discipline to being disciplined. When identity shifts first, action follows naturally. 5, use AI to enhance, not replace your internal compass. Here's the upper hand. AI can amplify identity by supporting what you're choosing, but it shouldn't define it. Use prompts like, what's a 1-sentence affirmation that honors someone who starts today, even when afraid? How might someone who values consistency reframe a slip into a next action? Suggest a single visual cue that can anchor morning presence without technology. These make AI a coach, not a choreographer. 6, build daily rituals that root identity. Combine ritual systems with identity reinforcement for exponential impact. Anchor, I am someone who begins. Action, 1 aligned micro-step. Reset, pause with breath when resistance arrives. Proof, capture the real behavior in your journal. Repeat daily. Over time, you don't just act, you become. Real-life example. A subscriber shared they'd been stuck visualizing their dream career but never submitted an application. Then they reframed, I'm the kind of person who submits imperfect applications anyway. They set a micro goal, submit 1. They did it. That small commitment created momentum. The real magic? When they reviewed their proof journal, they saw, I followed through even in fear. That identity replaced the freeze. Part 5 summary. Assert your identity, not when feeling ready, but through repeated practice. Document evidence of alignment. Favor small, meaningful action over polished plans. Use AI as a voice of support, not the voice of command. In Part 6, we'll weave everything together into a final roadmap. How to keep this cycle going long-term and return to action, not just ideas, whenever you're tempted to drift back. Stick with Think Fresh Daily, where you're not just imagining your future, you're earning it. You've explored why AI vision alone falls short, how emotional resistance blocks action, how ritual and identity build after momentum, and how micro-actions root who you are becoming. Now it's time to close the loop and step into daily life differently. This is the roadmap for turning visualization into transformation. Part 1. Recommit to identity over output. Everything starts and ends with your identity. Choose, I'm the kind of person who acts even when unmotivated, instead of, I want to be perfect. Accept, small steps forward are my building blocks, instead of, I need to complete the script first. When identity leads, action follows, not the other way around. 2. Layer systems without losing yourself. Systems grow stronger when built on emotional flexibility. Tool system, human intent, real-world practice. Proof 2. AI-generated plan, clarity and structure. Ran 1 of 3 micro-steps. Morning ritual. Ground the self. 2. Breath pause before phone. Proof journal. Reinforced trust. 1 aligned action recorded. Reset anchor, recenter when friction hits. Slow exhale before screen, identity affirmation. Embed growth by doing. I start, even in resistance. Use each system piece as an enhancement, not a replacement, for your inner leadership. Nash 3. Deepen proof and emotional awareness. At the end of every day or week, review your proof journal. What did you do even when you didn't feel like it? Observe emotional patterns. Where did resistance still appear? Ask, what's one shift you'll choose tomorrow, even if it's small? This strengthens your feedback loop between action and awareness, where belief grows in real time. 4. Stick to the 3-step minimal progress formula. To avoid overwhelm, simplify your carry-forward system. 1. One micro-step aligned with your identity. 2. One breath or emotional anchor when anxiety surfaces. 3. One proof note to affirm I showed up. Repeat every day. Habit compounds. Identity cements. 5. Use AI purposefully and sparingly. Instead of scripting new perfect plans, use AI for reflection partners. What does my recent behavior reveal about who I'm becoming? Micro reminders. Help me write a 2-sentence message to stay grounded. Ritual prompts. What's one visual cue for resilience I can create? Keep AI light. Let your inner system carry the weight of consistency. Accept resistance as part of growth. There will be days the momentum fails. That's not defeat, it's signal. Slip on ritual, reset with 1 breath. Missed small action, try again tomorrow without guilt. Feel overwhelmed? Pause. Offer yourself compassion, then still move. Over time, these resets train trust, not due to results, but because you remain aligned. Final reflection. At the end of this series, you should feel that momentum doesn't come from generating another vision. Momentum comes from doing. Vision is your map, your rituals, the path, your identity, the terrain, your action, the journey. Growth isn't about exhausting plans, it's about consistent presence. Take action now. If you've held in your mind an image of who you want to be, here's your crucial step. Make 1 aligned micro move today and journal it. Then breathe. Then do it again tomorrow. This is how IP becomes momentum, vision becomes habit, possibility becomes reality. Your invitation: subscribe to Think Fresh Daily if you're ready to break the cycle of planning without moving. You want mindset videos that challenge you to live the lesson. You're open to growth, not just inspiration. Because here's what we offer. No fluff, real tools, human pacing, authentic change. The journey doesn't end on the screen. It continues in your next breath, your next step. 1 micro action at a time. AI can build your vision, but only you can walk the path. We believe in you. Now, it's time to make it real. Let's build together.